Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Seismic Breakfast Briefing. We're going to wait a couple of minutes as our audience and the rest of the community join the room. So in that time, take the next couple of minutes to make sure you're sitting comfortably, grab a cup of tea or coffee if you haven't already, and then we'll get started in a few minutes from now. Welcome, everybody. I can see we've got a great range of people already in the room. Lovely to see you this morning. Hi, Anna. Lovely to see you.
Hi,
Sally. So, whilst our attendees joined the room this morning, and before we get started, it would be lovely to hear from you where you are and where you are on your B Corp journey. So if you could pop in the chat, where are you dialing in from today? And where are you on your B Corp journey? So are you already a B Corp? Are you not a B Corp, but on the journey to becoming one? Or are you deciding whether it's the right thing for you? So we'd love to hear that in the chat. Where are you dialing in from today? And where are you on your B Corp journey?
Ooh. Foggy
Ooh.
Dartmoor. Very moody.
Yeah. Hi, Claire. Wiltshire. Completed the, hoping to submit soon. That's a very exciting stage of your journey. Morning, Catherine, Neil, Lisa. Lisa, you're not sure where to start. Well, you're in the right place. I think today will hopefully be a useful session for you. Hi, Sebastian from Cartrula. Good luck for your verification. That's a very exciting stage to be in. Hello, Hannah. Hi, Kate. Lovely to have you with us today. Hi, Lee. Hey, Lee. Wonderful. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
Great, thanks. Nice to see you, Lee.
And you, bright and early?
Yeah. Before 9 a.m. It's a miracle.
Before 9 a.m. and all the kids are at school.
Nice to get a bit of peace and quiet.
Yes.
Now we can please continue to say your hellos in the chat and we will begin to dive in. And oh my goodness, what a treat we have in store today. Welcome to the March installment of the Seismic Breakfast Briefing. We are very excited to be celebrating B Corp Month this March, and that's our focus of the briefing today. And if you haven't already, please do make sure you're sitting comfortably and have a coffee or tea to hand as we dive in. So let's take a look at our agenda today. We're going to kick off with understanding more about B Corps and B Corp Month 2023. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how Seismic goes beyond, with going beyond being the theme of B Corp Month for this year. Then we're moving into a very exciting segment where we're going to be inviting speakers from Finisterre, Sipsmith, and B Lab UK to share their experiences and insights about B Corp and B Corp Month. And then at the end, we will have an opportunity for Q&A. So as we go through the session, if you have any questions that you'd love to put to our speakers, please do keep them or pop them in the chat, and then we'll be able to have a discussion at the end of the session. And for those who I've not met yet, it's lovely to meet you. My name's Olivia, and I'm a sustainability consultant at Seismic. We're an international team of sustainability experts on a mission to help businesses prosper by becoming an increasingly impactful and influential forces for good. So it gives me great pleasure to hand over to one of our co-founders, the brilliant Amy Bourbeau. Amy has been instrumental in the launch and growth of the B Corp movement. She was the first B Corp consultant in the UK, and has supported hundreds of companies to certify since 2015. She also co-designed the B Leaders training program in partnership with B Lab and has trained hundreds of B leaders in the UK and Europe. So you're in very safe hands. Over to you, Amy.
Thank you so much, Olivia. And good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us. And thanks for joining to talk about my favorite topic, B Corp. So for understanding from the comments in the chat before, we're all coming at this from slightly different angles. We're going to do a quick little 60-second recap on what B Corp is to make sure we're all on a similar level of knowledge. I'm literally starting a timer if we can go on to the next slide. So an overview is we like to kind of categorize B Corp as 4 things. Number 1, it is a brilliant management tool. That's the B Impact Assessment. It's hundreds of questions, and companies are using it around the world. Over 200,000 companies are using it to measure and understand their impact internally within their business. For those companies who want to prove that they are meeting a really high standard and they're performing well in that assessment, they can certify and prove that externally they're meeting these high standards. And the lovely thing is that it brings together this brilliant community of businesses who might be spread across different sectors and sizes, but they think similarly. And they want to connect with each other to change the way that business is done. And in regards to changing the way that business is done, the whole reasoning behind B Corp is that it's about a movement of shifting the way that we do business, taking it from shareholder-driven, profit-based business to stakeholder-driven, let's make a profit, but also do that while benefiting people and planet at the same time. 1 minute and 5 seconds, but hopefully that gives a bit of an insight into what B Corp is and kind of the reason why we're here. And on the next slide, we've just got some examples of the 6,500 B Corps that we have around the world. There's a whole spread of sizes and sectors that are B Corps. You can be located anywhere in the world. A lot of these are kind of B2C brands, and there's sometimes a misconception that B Corp is just for public facing brands, but actually 2/3 of the B Corp community in the UK are B2B brands. So it is for everybody. So a little bit about B Corp Month, which is such an exciting time of the year. It feels kind of like Christmas come again sometimes. B Corp Month is a time, and I'm going to hand over in a second to Catherine, who will talk us through it in much more detail. But if we can go on to the next slide, B Corp Month is a time for the community of B Corps to really come together and make an effort to raise awareness about B Corp. Now, to give a bit of context as to what that looks like, there's currently over 6,500 B Corps worldwide, and that is growing constantly. The growth rate has been so brilliant to see from 5 B Corps in the UK in 2015 to now well over 1,200 in the UK today, and globally similar growth rate as well. Actually, interestingly, the UK is the fastest growing B Corp community in the world, which is nice. But when you think about the collective power behind that, the fact that there's over 500,000 people who work for B Corps, and when you think about that kind of collective impact that can be had, the awareness that can be raised, etc., it's really exciting to think about not only the ripples, but actually the waves that we can be making. So I'm going to hand over to Catherine to talk about the way that the community comes together. Now, Catherine is a very impressive person. She has been working, she's actually the longest standing member of the B Lab UK team. If you have a question about B Corp or about the B Corp community, Catherine is your woman to go to. And so I'm happy to hand over to her to talk a bit about the wonderful B Corp Month.
Amazing. Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. Yeah, as Amy mentioned, I've been with the B Lab UK team for the last 6 years. So back in those early days when there were about 100 B Corps, and we're now seeing an amazing amount of growth and momentum. So we thought it could be useful if I talk to you about B Corp Month, being one of the people behind the campaign in the UK. So B Corp Month is an annual global campaign. Every year during March, B Lab, the global B Corp community, join together to celebrate everything it means to be a B Corp. And so throughout the month of March, we're really focusing on building awareness and educating different audiences on the ways that the movement is transforming the economic system. So as Amy mentioned, we've got over 1,200 B Corps in the UK, and we're really encouraging all of our B Corps to shout about what B Corp means to them. So B Corp Month is really drilling down into the nuts and bolts and the impact stories and the examples from the community. And so by the B Corps themselves sharing these stories, it really strengthens that meaning, the understanding and trust about B Corp certification. And so, as you can see on the right-hand side of this screen, the theme this year is going beyond. So going beyond expectations and going beyond just the mark, just the certification, to really make a mark on the world. So it's a global campaign, and this theme is global. So B Corps all around the world are sharing the same assets, they're sharing the same stories, they're talking about the same messages. And so the objectives of the campaign for us at B Lab are really to get our community of B Corps excited, engaged, and really shouting about what it means to be a B Corp, but also through this accelerating that cultural change and accelerating and educating and building understanding beyond the B Corp community about what B Corp really means. And if we go on to the next slide, we've got some highlights from last year. So in 2022, we introduced the theme Behind the B to the world, really inviting everyone behind the scenes to uncover everything that makes B Corps better businesses. And so last year was our most successful B Corp month we've ever had. And the thing that really catapulted it last year, I think, was that we had over 70% of our UK B Corps get involved, whether that was online through doing discussions, presentations like this, shouting about what they were doing internally on social media, but also really getting involved in person. So last year, I don't know if any of you came by, we did a pop-up shop just off Oxford Street in London, with the focus of that was really on building that awareness for consumers and for the general public about what B Corp means. We also last year did a lot of retail activations, which you can see on the slide here, an amazing end of aisle activation in over 180 Waitrose stores, which you can see again this year, which was really exciting and really focusing on reaching millions of people and really building the general awareness in terms of the general public about what B Corp means. This year, our focus has shifted slightly more strategically to be thinking about raising awareness amongst business leaders, amongst employees, and also a big focus of our work this year is getting outside of London. So we've done a billboard campaign this year, but really focused in the north and the northwest, and also across Wales as well. So hopefully that was a bit of a useful overview, and hopefully you've seen B Corp Month everywhere. You've seen your favourite B Corps shouting about it, and hopefully some kind of out of home and billboard campaigns as well. Great. I think I'm handing back to Olivia, I think.
We'll hand straight back to Amy. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. So just a little bit now about, in the spirit of going beyond, a little bit to kind of help to spark some inspiration, hopefully, and how and highlight some of the ways that we've helped our clients to go beyond. If we go to the next slide, please. We're all about kind of helping our clients to, exactly as Catherine said, make sure that it's not only about the certification, that's a really important, exciting part, but actually you can achieve so much through the B Corp framework and community, whether you're certified and you want to go beyond that, or even if you're not yet certified or not planning to certify. And on the next slides, just to bring some of that to life. So Innocent is a beloved client of ours. We've been working with them since 2017 when they first decided they wanted to be a B Corp, and they and through their recertifications and through to now. And they've really made sure to embed B Corp into their day-to-day business and make it be business as usual. So some of the ways that they've done this is by using the B Corp kind of structure of the B Impact Assessment to create a measurement tool that spans across all of their different locations, which means that regardless of where, which office you're in, whether it's in the UK, Asia, Europe, you can be reporting on and collecting your information and working together as a team and having the same standards across locations. They've got beekeepers, and a wonderful bee pollinator beekeeper system, which keeps B Corp living and breathing so that it isn't something that you kind of forget about for 3 years and then have to rush to recertify, but it's lived and breathed in the business. They've linked their company. They've included sustainability in their company scorecards. And a really nice thing is that in each of their meeting rooms, they've got 2 chairs, one that is for the environment and one that is for society, so that in all meetings, people are considering both people and planet when they're making decisions. On the next slide, we've got Piper, who are a wonderful private equity firm, who are also B Corp certified and a great client of ours. And they do great work to kind of inspire their portfolio to certify or support them on that journey if that's what they want to do. We work with them to create kind of a Piper community, sustainability community, which means that they're kind of inspiring and informing their portfolio companies, regardless of where they're at in their sustainability journey, to help kind of spread that awareness and hopefully incite action across their portfolio. It's using your influence basically for influencing change. And then finally, on the next slide, a couple examples. We can't share publicly the names of these organizations, but one very impressive manufacturer of medical technology who literally are saving lives all the time, go beyond that and want to make sure that in all aspects of their business are being purposeful and creating impact. And they've actually embedded their B Corp performance into their executive bonuses, which, you know, there's nothing like putting your money where your mouth is to kind of inspire change and positive performance. So that's been really wonderful to see the way that they've taken that so seriously and built it into their performance. And then there's also another very large, very inspiring clothing brand who are also a B Corp, and they, just when you think they couldn't do any more, they then are making sure that they're informing their regional sales teams to be able to raise awareness through the retail partners and make sure that all retail partners are actually taking action in regards to measuring their social and environmental impact, etc. So again, it's kind of using your influence and creating those ripples, which hopefully become waves. So hopefully those are some kind of inspirational nuggets from some of our wonderful clients. And then now we're going to go over to wonderful leaders who are here with us today. So I'm incredibly pleased and excited to introduce this group. We have Sam Galsworthy, who's the co-founder and chairman at Sipsmith Gin, who kind of pioneered the craft gin renaissance in the UK and then have taken it into sustainable gin. We have Adele Gingell, who is the head of positive impact at Finisterre. And I think that it feels like 90% of the people who become B Corps have spoken to Adele. She's a brilliant advocate for B Corp and is so helpful in supporting more companies to certify. And then, of course, the brilliant Catherine Draper, who is engagement manager at B Lab UK and who we've heard from already. So team, I'm very excited to hand over to hear a bit more from yourselves, because you're all very impressive and have a lot of inspirational words to share with us. So I wanted to start by asking Adele and Sam, as leaders within B Corps, a little bit about your why, and this might help with some of the people in the audience who are thinking about becoming B Corps. What was the kind of why behind why being a certified B Corp matters to your business, and why you feel it's important to go beyond just business as usual?
Okay, I'll follow you.
Okay. Thanks for having me, and great to see so many people join today. I can't take the credit. It was definitely the vision of our founder Tom. When he first sort of heard about the movement, he was super keen to get on board because it was the first thing that sort of resonated with our founding principles, that was to product, environment and people, and something that really acknowledged it was for businesses. So it wasn't sort of saying you can't be successful and grow a business, or it's growing it in the right way. I think for me, I came on board in our recertification journey, and the why just gave us so much more structure. It enabled us to focus on areas that weren't necessarily where our strengths initially aligned with. So sort of going beyond the other areas of the impact assessment. So focusing more on sort of workers, our strength was in sort of product and what we were making, but it could also be down to sort of how we communicate with our customers, our more in-house policies. It enabled us to sort of really reflect on every aspect of the business. And I think that's a huge part of why we continue to champion the movement, but also the community is amazing. Like, if I didn't have the support, I've sort of paid it forward, as you say. Like, I speak with a lot of people, and to the point where the movement's growing so big, I can't, please don't 75 people jump in my inbox after. This is how B Lab are great for it. But the support of Amy and other massive B Corps at the time we were going through our recertification was just invaluable. Like, it's an amazing community. So that's another big why for us.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat a lot of the stuff that you just said, Adele. Funny enough, I don't think a lot of what the folk on the call today are going to hear is a sort of a great surprise. Perhaps the only change would be that, while B Corp had been on the radar, kind of leadership level, actually it was the team within that actually brought this concept to us and said, hey, look, what about this? And I don't know if anyone's met any of our employees. They're pretty hard to say no to, actually. And so they came in pretty aggressively saying, this is exactly what we want. And we sort of really believe that after sort of a decade of relatively aggressive growth, that it was about time that we actually approached the way that we sought growth with a different lens. And I think this is where we've always called it now. We have had this obsession with growth, and I know that other businesses on this call have had the same. And I think we have absolutely been blinded by the negative impact that we have as we climb, the trajectory of growth. And actually what we sought was the right kind of growth. And so when we looked at our stakeholders in the eyes, actually we really wanted to say to them, look, this is about the right kind of quality growth, not the kind of growth that we've had where there are all sorts of consequences, unintended and otherwise, that we could move away from. And it was not lost on any of us, actually. The drinks industry, I was in the beer business before gin, but they're both highly energy, water consumptive. There are a lot of social impacts as well. They were not lost on us, but we just choose not necessarily to place them at the forefront of our decision making. And when we opted for B Corp, and the closer we looked forensically at the model, at this management platform, it just seemed to be the lightning strike for us to go, well, actually, this is where we can begin to minimize our radically, actually. And as Paul Polman would say, massively increase our handprint. So have a really positive leaning on local community, the stakeholders within the drinks industry, whether that be hospitality or supply chain, wherever. And I think also, hopefully lots of you've got lots of gin on your back bars at home, but you'll know it's a pretty competitive market. And I'm not going to lie, having B Corp as an accreditation, which we got 2-3 years ago, has really helped. Competitive edge, the conversations that we have with our buyers in this utterly aggressive market in gin has really helped. It has kept a lengthening conversation, and so that's really worth considering. We never had a problem with team engagement. My God, team engagement soared, as I dare say it did with Finisterre and others who've also secured B Corp. It is just remarkable. The culture transformation chemistry within business when you can.
It's been so great to see the way that your team has, embraced B Corp, and it's become such a pillar of how you do business. And Catherine, obviously, Finisterre and Sipsmith are just two examples from a massive community. As the movement has grown and you've seen that shift from, as you say, just around 100 companies to over 1,000, how have you seen the movement as a collective kind of whole go beyond as B Corps?
Yeah, great question.
Oh, you're on mute.
You think we'd learn 3 years into Zoom calls? I think it's a really great question. I think it's been a really amazing growth that we've seen over the last couple of years. And I think what a lot of people might not realize when they go through the certification process is that B Corp is a community. It's a community, and it's really that global movement. And so B Corps definitely aren't operating in a silo. We're focusing on their own impact, focusing on their plans. It's really about that collaborative element. And so whether that's kind of asking for best practice on the Beehive, which is our community platform, or kind of coming together to solve challenges in our different working groups, we've just see so much incredible collaborative celebrations and collaborative problem solving. So just in B Corp Month, we've had our B Corps kind of coming together in a farm in Northamptonshire last Friday, and then I know last Wednesday, I think it was, over 150 employees from B Corps came together in Brighton and did a beach clean and a kind of litter pickup across the city. And so it's really inspiring that we see all the time, but especially as we've grown, as the community has grown, that collaborative element and the community element is really, really strong, which is amazing and really inspiring to see. And also at B Lab UK, what we're busy doing behind the scenes, going beyond, is working on the Better Business Act. So this is a campaign to change the UK law to really ensure every company in the UK is aligning their interests with those of wider society and the environment. So I can share a link if you're keen to kind of badger your MPs and get them involved in the Better Business Act as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think that one of the key kind of parts about B Corp is that we can't continue to do business in the same way and expect to have different outcomes. And so we're kind of inspiring everyone to try and see things and do things differently. Adele, maybe you could talk about some of the innovative ways that at Finisterre, some of the innovations that you've taken to improve your impact as a business.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of ours, sort of leading on from the community element, is we're still a relatively small business, but it's the people we partner with. So all sort of the innovation projects we've done, whether it's not just necessarily products, it's ways of working in terms of innovation and looking at new business models. But our Leave No Trace packaging was a huge movement for us, but that was supported. They aren't a B Corp, but by a company who we came together, we brought in the supply chain. They had the technology to create a marine biodegradable packaging bag for that solution. And we haven't stopped there. So it's trying to change sort of the materials that go into it, or whether it's our fabric and farming and sort of making partnerships within our supply chain. It's constantly shifting the dial, but you can't do it on your own. And you're only sort of going to be as big as the resources you've got internally. So I think we've always acknowledged that from very early days of our founding, that innovation comes from the sort of the partners and the creativity you can bring within, and to really leverage that network to try and find better ways. Like as Sam said, like we're in resource heavy industries, and when you delve deeper into your supply chain, sort of the clothing industry is pretty horrific as well. So it's looking with partners as well what to do with clothes at the end of life. We've got a responsibility for everything we're putting out there. So launching sort of resale platforms and being the first to do that, like we're really keen to just show other companies it can be done. And I think that's it. And not be afraid to get it wrong. Like we're very human and we do make mistakes, but just put your hands up and say, we went with this fabric because we thought it was better, but actually science is showing us different things now, and we're going to keep moving and evolving.
Yeah. For anyone that wants to learn more about sustainability and fashion, just have a look at Finisterre's website or read about some of their products. It's incredibly impressive. And actually the Leave No Trace bag is so cool. It literally, you just put it in warm water and it disappears in front of your eyes, and it's safe for the water system. So yeah, it's constantly kind of eye-opening to see what you guys are up to. And talking about kind of inspiring that or kind of leading the way, Sam, Sipsmith has done some great things around kind of collaboration. So whether it be collaborating on products or inspiring those in your network to become certified. Can you talk a bit about some of your partnerships or the inspirational waves that you've set through your organization?
I think some of the most fun we've actually had in businesses with other people. Working, I always find partnerships have been the jetpack of an ambition. You can actually work in collaboration with others. I think for so long we were just working on our own and just assuming we could crack on and do it by ourselves, and we couldn't. And one example is we were really hoping to get into an element of Waitrose which we weren't able to get into. Jude's were there, and yes, we partnered. We made a gin and tonic ice cream. I mean, if that isn't the sweet spot in some summer, I don't know. But we did it. We worked. We spent a year on this, and they weren't in part of Waitrose. We weren't in, but they were. And so actually, we just formed this great alliance, and we worked really closely together. We reduced a huge amount of wastage. We came in with a highly competitive and a really exciting product. So we came up with Jude's Gin and Tonic Ice Cream, which absolutely exploded into the scene. It was a limited edition, so we had to come back to it, and then we released it. So and then a couple of years ago, we, obsessed with coffee as we are, we launched it's a very limited edition gin called Sipsmith, which used packed. So Pack was one of the earlier B Corp things, and we worked with them, with our team, to sort of move on to sort of better coffee, and they helped us tremendously with that. And again, that was an absolute roaring success, one of our best limited edition release successes. And actually, it was just great fun. It wasn't just the fact that the product itself was great. Forget that. So you just look at the outside. It was the sharing of information. We became incredibly transparent with what one another was doing. Forget whether it was coffee or gin. Actually, we learned a huge amount about how they trace their supply chain, how they treat their suppliers, what it is we could learn from them. And we did. I mean, Kath has just mentioned how powerful it is to understand about one's supply chains and suppliers. And that really was for us. So Pat did such a killer job. And then I think we worked with this wonderful farm who supplied the strawberries for Wimbledon in 2021, when there wasn't a Wimbledon championship, was it 2020? I can't remember. We used the strawberries, the sort of 400,000 tons of strawberries or whatever, and we made a gin from it because it wasn't going to get eaten. So that was quite fun as well. But anything with gin in it.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
If it's delicious and sustainable at the same time, then how can we say no? And Catherine, we've spoken quite a bit about internally how we can do things as a business and how we can collaborate back and forth, but how about how we can give back? Obviously, there's loads of examples of ways that the B Corp community kind of gives back to their communities locally or globally. Can you share some kind of standout examples that you've seen of B Corps who are kind of reaching out and going beyond in their communities?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to just be talking a lot about working groups and B locals. But something that our B Corps do is come together regionally and locally where they're based. So we've got lots of different B locals all across the UK, both down in Devon and Cornwall and in Scotland. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the B Corps coming together in Brighton was a really powerful way of getting employees and different companies, whether that's the Body Shop or Pala Eyewear, coming together and actually thinking, okay, what are the issues that we're seeing in our community, and how can we have a conversation about that? How can we be involved in the solutions? And so another B local is up in Manchester, and I know they're coming together to talk about homelessness in the city, and really thinking about how businesses can collaborate with other stakeholders in the city, whether that's local government or charity groups, and actually coming up with those solutions together. And I think it's something that's really exciting because London is actually the capital, B Corp capital of the world. London has got the most B Corps in one place. Second, I think, is Portland in Oregon. But it's really powerful when you actually see the kind of ethos of B Corp, which is really in that problem solving and government not doing it alone and actually being part of the solution. So definitely the B locals outside of London where B Corps are coming together and thinking about the impact they can have is really inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. So inspiring. And in a minute, I'm going to hand over to the audience who will get to ask questions to this brilliant panel. So audience, start thinking of the questions that you want to ask people. But before we do that, I just want to ask a question to the panel is, what specific action, what kind of is the call to action that you would like businesses to do to see them go beyond? So what would you like to see businesses in the community do to kind of go beyond the way that they do business? Who wants to be brave and take that first?
I can go first, I think. And it's probably no surprise what I'm going to say, but it's about collaboration. And I think, as Sam mentioned earlier, so often businesses think, okay, we're focusing on what are, on our targets and on our goals. But I really think the B Corp community, especially if you're in the process, get excited when you finally certify. But it's really about collaborating with others, and I think especially in the B Corp community it's often competitors that are actually coming together and saying, normally we would be competing, whether that's kind of veg boxes, for example, Label and Coal, Oddbox. They're actually coming together and saying, okay, we're both seeing these issues around plastics and packaging, for example, or food waste. How can we actually share what we're working on and come up with a solution together? So I think it's not a succinct 3-word call to action, but it's kind of collaborate, think outside the box and go beyond kind of thinking about problems and solutions on your own, and actually reach out to other companies, whether they are your competitors, and have those conversations.
Love that. Bring down the barriers. Yeah.
I'd like to see a little bit more corporate activism. I'd like to see, and if it isn't activism, it's a little bit more critical friendship within the business. So I'd love to see companies actively, or leadership actively promoting individuals or groups of individuals within different sections of a company to really represent and hold boards and certain decision makers to account, and not have any retribution based on that. So, corporate activism, you do see it at big company levels, but I think there's a role for critical friendships to really play here. We have it at Sipsmith, and it's wildly transformative. And so I think if this bug can catch on from within, then that's where it really embeds into culture, and I think you can become transformational.
Yeah, changing the way we challenge people.
Yeah, I think totally agree with both the points. I think that sort of grassroots and allowing your team to sort of speak up in these areas and support them that are important to them. So echoing what Sam said, and Catherine, in terms of collaboration, it's a massive thing for us. It's not just in terms of the products we've made. We've done some great collabs within the B Corp community, but it could be down to our carbon footprint, getting from Green Elements, support from Seismic, recycling our IT with Reconomy. There's so many different things. But I think for us, it's like, if you haven't started the B Corp journey, it's the measurement. And if you decide it's not for you, like Amy said, that like there's 4 elements to it, just go in and figure out there's always going to be some way you can keep improving. And it's really easy to get distracted, as you could say, distracted by business as usual, just focusing and not sort of looking more holistically to keep growing. But it's that sort of wider vision that has to become the business as usual within companies. So it's resilience. So I think my call to action is resilience, and just keep measuring.
Measuring is so important. That's, such a great first step, because you can't improve what you don't know. Thank you so much. We are now going to hand over to Olivia, who's going to bring in some questions from the audience.
Thank you. Oh, forgive me. Thank you very much, Amy and Catherine, Adele. Sam, it's been amazing to hear about all the ways businesses have been going beyond. So yes, we're now turning to the section where you and our audience can ask questions to our speakers. And the way to do that is to pop your question in the chat, and then we will come to you to put your question to the speakers. Now that no question is too silly or too small, whatever questions you have, we'd love to hear them. At Seismic, it's really important to us that we build a safe space for our community to ask questions and learn from one another. So as such, we're going to turn the recording off for this